Just 1 minute to talk about Doctor Who. Just 1 minute, or maybe two. Welcome to YouTube, we're talking Doctor Who. For you.
So hello, this is the final one of these ranking videos. This is the 7th Doctor, so I put all of his stories into a preference revealer, and it basically then matches up 2 stories at a time and asks which you prefer, and then gives you a list once it's done that enough times. So let's dive in. So we have 12 stories to rank, of course, starting with Time and the Rani at number 3. Yeah, I think I'm going to be contrary to popular opinion on quite a number of these stories. If you've been on this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I like Time and the Rani, and I did a video defending that, which you can find on this channel. But I will repeat some of the things. You know, I like the Rani in this. I think she's an interesting character. I like all of the post-regenerative stuff. I know that turns some people off, but I quite like it. I enjoy the Lacurtians. I enjoy the Tetraps. You know, the Rani's plan makes sense, even though it seems quite convoluted. You know, and you know, the campness of it doesn't put me off. I enjoy it very much, and the special effects, you know, are great. They stand up even today. And Paradise Towers. I think this is partly the book was one that I encountered early on, so I was able to appreciate the story. But even then, I enjoy the production. I like some of Gav McCulloch's music on this one more than some of his other stuff. I think the whole concept is a good one, and I don't have a problem with Richard Briers in the final episode at all. I think he gives a perfectly reasonable performance for somebody who's been a brain in a basement who's possessing another person. You know, that could be how that plays out. And I love the Rezzies. I love the Peck's character. You know, it's just a great story. And Delta and the Bannermen is not for me. It's one of those ones I feel like I want to like it, but no. I mean, I think it's let down by the fact that I don't care for Delta. You know, I think the performance is just poor. You know, having had the two previous stories provide these great environments and these great characters, Delta is just boring, and I don't care about her. I'm not that fussed about the setting. Yeah, it's just Burton, I think. Yeah, he's great, you know, but yeah, not for me, this one. Dragonfly is middling. I know that at the time this was the best of the season, but it's fine. Kane is a good villain. It's nice to have Glitz back. You know, I like Ace, but she's in better stories than this. The departure of Mel, it doesn't really work. Yeah. So moving on to season 25, Remembrance. You might be able to guess what my top 2 are. Yeah, Remembrance is fantastic. Remembrance is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I wasn't there at the time, so I didn't get the impact of it being, you know, the return to form that people saw it as being at the time. And in spite of the fact that I don't really think that it fits in with the First Doctor at all, but that's my particular take on, you know, the mythology. I enjoy it for what it is. You know, I know I've said before in this series that, you know, in advancing Tamil mythology is not my thing, but I think it's fine in this one. You know, and having the 2 Dalek factions fight it out is great, and Gilmore is a perfectly great Brigadier substitute, and Rachel, you know, I mean, I can't get enough of Pamela Salem. So yeah, no, really, really good stuff. And then the rest of season 25 is really not my cup of tea. The Happiness Patrol, I don't mind Doctor Who being political. I talked about the Sunmakers as something that I enjoy. This one is very on the nose, and it's quite unpleasant. I think the Candyman drowning people in molten candy is one of the more unpleasant things that the show has done. I love Dominic Glynn's remixes. I can definitely recommend all of his remixes that he's done over recent years. Those EPs, great. But the story itself is not for me. And maybe no surprise to find Silver Nemesis at the bottom. I have no nostalgia for this, I guess. I mean, I did see the VHS at some point, but no, it's just a mess. And even sort of drawing attention to the fact that the Doctor is basically doing the same thing to the Cybermen that he did to the Daleks already. And the idea that this is the silver anniversary of Doctor Who, it is not for me at all. It does not work for me. I will happily leave it as the worst Seventh Doctor story. And then Greatest Show. I want to like this one more. As I said, I do enjoy Stephen Wyatt's Paradise Towers. And I want to like this more than I do. I think also, again, going back to what I said about Happiness Patrol, it's unpleasant. The whole psychic circus thing is unpleasant. I don't enjoy seeing the different contestants come to vie for the attention of the psychic circus and then be bumped off horribly. I don't enjoy that aspect of the story, and most of the characters are, Captain Cook in particular, just not, they're not nice, and the resolution is a little bit, I don't know, the Doctor doing his performance and reflecting stuff off of it. The whole thing just doesn't work for me at all. I can see why people enjoy it. McCoy walking away from the explosion is a nice moment, but no, not for me at all. Sorry, season 25, you're not my. It's like heights at the start and then depths for the rest. And then we're into season 26. So Battlefield. I enjoy Battlefield. I feel that it is perceived as the worst of the season, but as you'll see, there's a gap at number 8 for the worst of the season. It's fine. I enjoy it, and I love the Brigadier as a character, and it's a nice outing for him to come back. Bambera and Anselin are great fun. I mean, it's one of those ones where the characters are great. It works because the characters are fun people to be around. And although the whole Doctor is Merlin from Parallel Dimension thing is never really explained. I mean, I suppose it doesn't need to be explained at all. I enjoy it, and Jean Marsh as Morgan Le Fay. No, she's not Morgan Le Fay. She's Morgaine. There's so many different versions of the Arthur story. I suppose it feels inevitable that Doctor Who would do Arthur at some point, right? And this is a fun story, And I like Ben Aronovich's writing. I love his books as well. So yeah, great story for me. Ghostlight number 8. So I've never understood people who don't understand the story, and this is not to say I'm clever or anything. It's just, again, I read the book, right? And if you've read the book, then there's no mystery about the story, and I can't then watch the TV version without kind of knowing all that I know. I mean, maybe I can see why people are like, well, it should be 4 parts, but no, it's not really. Again, I keep coming back to this. It's not the most pleasant story. And I think, as you'll have seen across these episodes, I can be quite inconsistent about that, in that there are some very unpleasant things in Doctor Who stories that are stories that I like, and then there are other ones where, I just think Josiah is an unpleasant character, and there's not really anybody. I suppose Redvers, you feel sympathetic for, but there's not really anybody that I latch onto in the story to care about. Yeah, and Light is, when Light is finally revealed, I'm like, yeah, no, not for me. I feel it's no surprise that I put Curse of Fenric at the top as well. These two tend to be at the top. My 3 and 4 are my, sacrilege, I suppose. But yeah, Curse of Fenric. it was for a very long time until I saw the actual broadcast version, because I was introduced to it with the VHS, which is slightly extended, and then when I got the DVD, I basically watched the movie version every time I watched it, and then and more recently I watched the broadcast version, and then I realised why maybe some people don't. Well, because the broadcast version doesn't really work because there's too much missing. The extended VHS and the even longer movie cut allow the story to breathe. But yeah, no, I've always enjoyed it. I like the sort of the Norse mythology thing, the fact that the Doctor again at some point in his past has this unknown story with Fenric trapped in the flask, and then it's all kind of coming back to bite him essentially, and Ace's involvement in it, and having to break his faith. No, not his faith. Having to break her faith and all that kind of stuff. The Russians, I like all the Russian stuff. Yeah, it's a great story. Which leaves Survival at number 5. Perfectly good story to round out the era. I enjoy it a lot, and I enjoy Ainley getting to do something different with the Master. I enjoy, Ace coming back to where she's from and dealing with that. The cheetah people are an interesting concept. And I'm too young to have been aware of Hale and Pace, and so their inclusion, and that's true of a lot of the stunt casting of the 80s. Is that I know these people from Doctor Who, so they're nothing special in that way. So that doesn't kind of take away from it. Patterson is a great character that you want to slap him, but you also want him to survive, and he's a very tragic figure throughout the story. So yeah, a good note for the series to go out on. So that's my list. Tell me where you think I'm right and where I'm wrong. Let me share your list in the comments. Would love to hear from you. Yeah, what do you think of my 7th Doctor rankings? So yeah, that's the last one of these. I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you have been able to share your thoughts and feelings in the comments on them. I would love to hear from you if you haven't done that yet. I'm recording this in October 2025. I don't know when I'm going to be releasing these. I'm not sure what else is going to be coming along with them, so I can't say where we're going next. But hopefully, do stay tuned. Do subscribe if you're not already subscribed to see what I'm going to come up with next.
Just 1 minute to talk about Doctor Who. Just 1 minute, or maybe 2. Welcome to YouTube, we're talking Doctor Who.